Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. If you're new here, my name is Emily and today I'm going to do a walkthrough of the PYTHONIC Tarot by Jessica Shaw. I picked this deck up from Etsy in the UK and I believe this is a UK based deck creator also, so it did not take very long to arrive, which was great. The deck actually arrived within wrapping within the box and it didn't have its own tuck box or anything or bag, so I just had this left over from another deck, so I've popped it in here for the time being, but I do want to get it its very own bag at some point. Let's just take a little look at this guidebook so I can give you a little bit more context about this deck. So I'm not entirely sure how I discovered this deck actually. What happened was maybe about 4 weeks ago. I actually filmed this video several months back now when we were in the lockdown here in England, so this is a long time ago. I think I've had the deck for about 4 weeks now. I've been waiting to make this video. I saw an alert pop up and it was a message from the creator from her Etsy shop come directly to me, and I had obviously put out an inquiry about the Oracle deck because this creator also created an Oracle deck as well, and I was looking to get the Oracle deck and wondering when it would be back in stock, and so the message was just to alert me that the Oracle deck was back. But when I had a look at the shop, I just fell in love with the tarot deck, and because it is an independent deck, it was fairly expensive, around £70 or so. So I made the decision to go with the tarot deck for now, and I still have the Oracle deck in my wish list on my Etsy page, so that is one for the future. But I just fell in love with this when I saw the imagery, and I literally can't remember where I first discovered this. It was the Oracle deck that I'd obviously asked about, so potentially someone had mentioned the Oracle deck, and I'm really not sure who. So if anybody knows, then that would be interesting, but not that it really matters, and this story is kind of boring. But let's just get into this guidebook and have a little look. So the PYTHONIC Tarot was written and illustrated by Jessica Shaw. It was printed in New Zealand. As I'm aware though, Jessica resides in the UK. Essentially, I read a little bit of this preface and understood that the illustrator, the creator, had a really deep interest in tarot that started with the Thoth Tarot, and the creator was fascinated by tarot and the occult. It says here, I created the PYTHONIC Tarot first and foremost as an expression of devotion, dedication and a desire to uphold that which I consider most sacred in humans, the ability to self-express through the beauty of art, to focus all energy of mind, body and spirit into a single channel that acts as a voice for the gods. My second intention was to make a deck to use for myself, an accurate tool which would embody all of my personal energy, ideals, and to be based upon my own experiences. This deck is an offering to the eternal, a demonstration of skill, patience, and resilience. What I intended to manifest was an emanation of all the hidden wealth and inner riches within me. I don't believe in doing things by halves. So when I began creating my own deck, I was determined for it to be an accurate representation of how I view the world. My own experiences and personal beliefs are all steeped into these paintings. The journey to create this deck and write the guidebook was the most difficult creative challenge I've faced in my life. And there are countless times when I wanted to give up and let myself fail. So this is really a labour of love from the sounds of it. And over here, it talks a little bit about the word Pythonic and what it means. So the word Pythonic comes from the name of the terrestrial serpent deity named Python. This Dracana, she-dragon, was sent by Gaia to guard the sacred oracle of the shrine at Delphi, which was located at the slope of Mount Parnassus. In one myth, Python is said to have been created from the rotting slime left in the wake of the Great Deluge. Delphi was considered by the ancients to be the centre of the world, a place of immeasurable power which resonated upwards from the subterranean depths to speak through the oracles that abided there. Inside the shrine was a great stone called the Omphalos, or navel, which was fiercely guarded by Python. Omphalos stones acted as spiritual transmitters, allowing the oracle to communicate directly with the gods. This isn't a myth that I know of in detail particularly. I know that I've heard of the names referenced here, but that's about it. So this is something that I'm definitely going to look up and read a little bit more about beyond the guidebook, but having that contextual information here is really, really interesting. So then it goes into a little bit about the tarot system. In here I've got a little receipt which was addressed to me. Chantilly Aura, that's the name of the Etsy shop, so I will link it below of course. And here is just a little thank you card as well. So over here we've got major arcana correspondences, which is really, really interesting and helpful. And then some information here about the different suits and how to use the deck for divination, different spreads you can use. And then here you've got the meanings of the different cards. So it's very deity based, I'm going to say, myth and legend. But there's something about this deck, and you will see, that just called to me. And I actually feel like it is very Morriganic in its sort of mythic kind of portrayal, and I just fell in love with it, to be honest with you. I'm so excited to start using it, so let's just have a look at the deck now. So here we have the deck, and it's a really good size. I'd say I can probably shuffle this. It's definitely larger than a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, but it's not too large, which is really, really good. It's got this reversible back, and the cardstock is really nice. It's kind of satin matte, I'd say. There's a little bit of a glare there, but not too much. It's not really shiny or anything. And it's smooth. There's definitely some kind of core, I think, in this, but it's really a nice kind of slim card, so I think any riffle shufflers would enjoy this. And the deck itself hasn't been edged or anything, and the creator actually advises that after you cleanse the deck, you do edge it yourself in black marker. I should imagine that because the creator has advised that, that is what the creator did themselves when working with this deck. So let's just turn it over and take a look at it. I'm so excited. So this is the full card, and there are actually 2 copies of the full card. So I'm just going to set one of them aside, but I'm going to show you in detail this beautiful artwork. And there are these black borders, of course, but it really does frame the artwork beautifully. And this is watercolour, I believe, and I think some ink as well. And it is just so beautifully done. And there's this real kind of magical, mystical, woodland, forest, definitely mythological kind of feel to it that I just adore. Next up you have the sorceress, this beautiful moon there. It looks like this sorceress is doing some kind of high magic ceremony with the pentagram, and yeah, it's just, I just love it. It's so gorgeous. Here you have the high priestess. As you can see, you've got the pomegranate there, you've got the moon, you've got the duality between the 2 veils, which is this figure's hair. You've got the wateriness. It is just stunning, and I just think I'll just show you closer how beautiful this is. I just think the art is stunning, and it just speaks to me. It is the kind of style of art that I just adore. So like deep and beautiful. And this is the Empress. It's so stunning. I love that, the mushrooms. This is the Emperor. The Hierophant. So you can see there is sort of that traditional Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism that we're used to seeing, but it's different ways of depicting those cards. And these look like the 3 fates potentially. Let's just have another little look at the guidebook and find out which card pertains to which deity. Okay, so it says the Fool is Pan, the Sorceress is Hermes, the High Priestess is Selene, which makes sense. Aphrodite is the Empress, the Emperor is Ares, Zagreus is the Hierophant, Eros and Psyche are the lovers. So potentially these characters here are meant to be the fates or the weirds. Let's have a little look. The immortal nymphs of the west, the direction and dwelling place of death, and the daughters of evening, beloved by Venus, the 3 Hesperides. So I'm not sure, I don't think I've heard of the 3 Hesperides before, but that is what they are. I don't know if that's the same as the Weavers of Fate that I have heard of or not, but again, need to do some reading around this. But I just love that. This is the Chariot, which is Helios. I'm going to need to do some reading around mythology again. There's always so much to learn. Strength. This is Hestia. Hestia is a goddess of hearth and home, so that's interesting. And then there's that python. There is a lot of serpentine energy in this. There's a lot of sort of fiery energy and a lot of watery energy, and it's just stunning. And it's just this magical woodland feel to it. So this is the Hermit, and the Hermit corresponds to Persephone. Okay, the Web of Weird, the Wheel of Fortune, which corresponds to Zeus. This is the Justice card, which corresponds to Athena. It looks like Athena has cut off the head of Medusa by the looks of it. And I absolutely love that myth. I have done a little bit of work with Medusa actually, in terms of kind of like reclaiming femininity and sexuality and sensuality and beauty, and working around these ideas not being kind of demonized by patriarchy, you know, in the way that I feel that it has. I think the Medusa story is such a massive lesson that we can all learn. The Hanging Woman is the Hanged Man, which corresponds with Poseidon. And beautiful crystals there. This is depiction of the Death card, which corresponds to Thanatos. I'm not sure how to pronounce that deity's name, so do let me know. Ah, okay. And you have a female presenting figure as well as Death. So I suppose you can pick one out that you want to use. And let's just take a look as well. In the feminine version of Death, a woman cloaked in royal purple stands between two Titian aconite plants. She carries a large key and a scythe. Aconite, known as monk's hood, is considered the queen of poisons and one of the most important witches' herbs. It is included in medieval recipes for flying ointment and used to enhance rites of necromancy. Aconite is highly sacred to Hecate. In the masculine version of Death, a man cloaked in black stands between two boughs of what is fabled to be the world's oldest tree, the yew, Taxus baccata. He carries a harvesting sickle and a human skull. Yew is highly toxic, yes. A highly toxic infernal tree intrinsically linked to the chthonic. It actually does say it here, yes, this powerful tree has been planted in cemeteries since ancient times. I've always noticed this. There were always cemeteries and churches that I would walk past when I was a child, walking to schools, and I'd always notice these particular trees. I didn't know when I was younger that they were yew trees, but they were always in churchyards and cemeteries, and I always found it fascinating, and now I know why. And since learning it, I've also seen it, and it's just like all clicked. It's so interesting. So there's that symbolism there, and it makes so much sense, of course, that it would be yew and that it would be aconite. These powerful herbs of death, essentially. It's just stunning. I just love that there are two representations here, and in fact I think when I work with the deck I might leave both of them in. They're just stunning. So the next card is Temperance, and the Temperance card corresponds to Artemis. That's such a beautiful card there. I cannot wait to read the guidebook as well, because it's not that big, and I think I'll be able to get a lot of understanding and knowledge from the guidebook. It's really good, what I've read so far. This is the Devil card, which corresponds to Dionysus. This is obviously Kali Ma, a Hindu deity, and this is the Tower. It says here the Tower corresponds to Eris. So I'm not entirely sure if the correspondences here are meant to be in general the correspondences of deities, but here the goddess Kali Ma, the Hindu goddess of death, poised over the tower. Her name is said to mean the Black One, or alternatively, she who is death. It's a very beautiful depiction. I couldn't speak to the accuracy of it because it is not my culture or religion. However, I do find this extremely beautiful, and I really like the deck, so I do hope that it is a respectful depiction, and that is something I know, that I've been really aware of, and in fact I spoke about it, that I didn't want to pick up Alana Fairchild's Kali deck because I listened to Queen Osset discussing the deck, and I really didn't feel like it would be, the right thing for me to pick up. But that's another rabbit hole. So the star card depicts the goddess Diane, and here it says the star corresponds with Astrea. So I believe that the correspondences at the front are the general correspondences for tarot decks. However, obviously different goddesses are depicted within these cards, so that's a little bit confusing, but in each description it does state which deity is depicted. I absolutely love this moon card. Look how beautiful that is. I love that peeling away of the skin and that opening up, and it's just so, I can feel like how powerful that is and how healing that would feel. And I just love the bodies of the women in this deck as well. They are so beautiful. I just love this deck already so much. So it says here the moon corresponds to Hecate. Here you have a beautiful depiction of the sun. I adore this. This is associated with Apollo. 3 solar nymphs rise in the sky to exalt their father at dawn. Lovely, stunning. And this is the Judgment card. Wow. And the Judgment card corresponds with Nemesis, a lone witch stands in the midst of a ring of toadstools. A dark wind blows as she raises her left hand to the full moon, which illuminates 9 gravestones. Rising from the abyss, creeping over the edge of the great pit, comes the goddess of witches, Hecate. So again, Hecate depicted. Oh my goodness, this would be a brilliant deck to do work with Hecate. I have personally never worked with Hecate, but I have learned quite a lot about her, and I have felt a call from her, but because I've been working with the Morrigan now for several years, I've never worked with Hecate exactly. I've just read about her and learned about her mythos. So I do find it extremely fascinating. I think this would be just a perfect deck to work with if you're a witch, if you identify as a witch, and if you work with Hecate, for sure. So this is the world, and the world corresponds with Gaia, and in this card it depicts the goddess Aradia in Italian witchcraft. Aradia was considered the original witch, you know, the very first deity even, which I find interesting. So fascinating. Oh my gosh, this is just opening up entirely beautiful kind of world that I just want to delve headfirst into. So your pentacles are the suit of crystals, so you've got the Ace of Crystals here. These aren't particularly pippish. They are illustrated, but they are more pippish than the scenic mages, of course. You have your 2, and you've obviously got the elemental associations there. This beautiful 3 of crystals, and this kind of reminds me a little bit of the Crystal Visions tarot actually, which I don't have. It's a deck that I've gone to buy several times and I've just not bought it. It's kind of one of those things where it's mass market, not that expensive, so I always feel like it will be available, so then I just don't get it. But I really would love to work with that as well, because I do think it's beautiful, and I do think I'd enjoy working with it actually, especially because I just love the way the crystals look in this as well. So 4 of crystals, again, yeah, that really does speak to the meaning as I understand it. The 5 of crystals, although not conventional in terms of depiction, it really does convey that message again. Oh look, there's a tiny little pussycat. Oh, that is so cute. Will you just look at that tiny little pussycat? Oh my gosh, playing with magic. And here you have the 6 of crystals, and that looks like Venus. Venus was a Roman deity. Let's see what that says. The light of Tibereth, golden sephira of spiritual beauties. An altar set with offerings to honour the goddess Venus. A statue of Aphrodite crowned with golden horns and swathed in golden hair stands in the middle of the altar. Venus is a Roman deity, but here this is for Aphrodite. Golden horns, and there is information here about the light of the Tibereth, the solar sephira of spiritual beauty. So this is definitely referencing more occult, esoteric knowledge. I do believe that because this creator originally fell in love with the Thoth, I can imagine that there's a lot of that within this deck as well. So I think it's probably a nice blend between the two systems, which I really, really like. I'm getting to know my Thoth, and I'm learning more and more about ceremonial magic and the Golden Dawn and more esoteric practices and things. I'm doing some reading and slowly building up a picture of my knowledge and understanding. 7 of crystals. This is such a stunning deck. I just think this is so divine, this deck. 8 of crystals. I just love this. Oh my gosh. So in the 8 of crystals, inside a dark tower and under the watchful gaze of the crescent moon, a teacher and initiate are practicing the magical arts. Wearing a crown adorned with 8 crystals, the student reads from a grimoire. The green light of earth glows from her black candle and radiates from her crown of earthly knowledge. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I just love this so much. Look at that card. I'm getting worst witch vibes, because I used to just love that book when I was little. That's by Jill Murphy. That was one of my favourite books, and I believe there was a series as well, a television series. I never watched that because it's kind of a little bit older when the TV series came out, but I just adored the books, and my daughter has them now. Oh my gosh, I just love it. And you know, all of those like wizard tarot decks and like school of magical witches tarot decks and stuff, I'm tempted by them, but just I've never felt like really drawn. And now I feel like even though this deck is so different, I'm kind of fulfilling that itch of having this sort of like magical school in here as well, because we've got that in this suit. Oh my gosh, I just adore it. So next up we have the 9 of Crystals. That's stunning. I could just be here all day, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. If there are any cards that you want me to give you some more information on, then just pop a comment in the box below and I will answer about some more details about each card if you are interested in any of them. So here you have the 10 of Crystals, and I am intrigued. Newly wedded couple. The King of Crystals. Shape-shifting sorcerer. The Queen of Crystals. This is just stunning. Oh my goodness. I just adore this deck. Knight of Crystals and Princess of Crystals. And then you have your Ace of Blades, and it's just like a witch's athame, or athame, however you say it. I always thought it was athame when I was growing up, and then I heard people say athame, so I'm not entirely sure. I don't really work with an athame or an athame personally in my practice, but I love that sort of sacred geometry going on there. And you've got what looks like a moth as well. 3 of Blades. I just cannot wait to delve really deep into this. And you've got some crow energy there. That's got definite 10 of Swords vibes to it, doesn't it? This is your 4 of Swords or Blades. Oh, I love this. This could be one of my favourite cards in the whole deck. This is 5 of Blades. That is stunning. Oh, I could cry. I could actually weep how beautiful that is. I just look at the detail here. 6 of Blades. I can really see the original Rider-Waite-Smith imagery there. The 7 of Blades. You have this beautiful ritual happening with herbs and athames. I cannot wait to delve into the guidebook more. This is just stunning. 8 of Blades. That's a really interesting depiction actually. The 9 Blades. The 10. The King. Beautiful. This one has total Morriganic energy, and this is the Queen of Blades. The Queen of Swords often has the Morrigan depicted as the Queen of Swords in various decks. The Goddess Morrigan floats through the sky above the battlefield. Her spear, adorned with a triskelion, is covered in blood. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I actually didn't know that the Morrigan was in this deck, and I was just called to it and I could just cry. This is just so beautiful, this energy. With this card, I have proper goosebumps right now. See, there's a lot of Greek deity in here, but there are other deities as well. We've seen Hindu, we've seen Roman, I don't know, I can't recall if we've seen any Norse, but Irish, Celtic. Here, I actually have goosebumps. I'm just thrilled. Knight of Blades. Princess of Blades here. I am so thrilled with this deck. Oh, here we go. Look, there is some Egyptian pantheon here coming through the Ace of Wands. It seems like the lower minors are more pippish. 3 of Wands. 4 of Wands. 5 of Wands. This is stunning. And this is the 6 of Wands. Let's see who this is. So this is a woman on the back of a large wolf. So you have some deity here, and you also obviously have some ordinary real life people, and it seems like it doesn't matter whether it's majors or minors, but you've got the sort of fusion of both there within the deck. So I think it's going to be really relatable for a lot of people, and I just think this whole magical, occult, witchcraft theme is so perfect for me and my practice, and so many people will be drawn to this because of that. 8 of Wands. That is reminding me of the Barbara Walker Tarot actually, because I feel like there's a lot of like ceremonial magic elements in that deck. So this is the 9 of Wands. This is a treasure of a deck. So here you have the Ten of Wands and you have the glyph for Saturn there. The King of Wands. So here we have the Queen. It's just stunning. The Knight. Beautiful Phoenix. And this Princess of Wands here. Chalices obviously are cups, and that is so beautiful. It's so fresh and stunning. Colours, the vibrancy in this deck. The 2, the 3 of chalices. These are like water nymphs, it looks like. Let's take a look. They're fairies. So there's a fae energy as well. Wow, witchcraft, fae, mythology. You've got it all here. Oh, that's so beautiful. That really reminds me actually of my daughter. Even though she's not really got blonde hair anymore, when she was little she did have blonde hair, and there is this beautiful maternal thing to this card. There are so many different themes within the one suit, so you know, maybe that might put some people off, but I just feel like because the art, it's obviously the same artist, the creator, it goes, it works, and I just love that it draws on all of these different themes, these different elements, and we've got the mushrooms again like we did in the crystals suit, and I just love that, and I just can't wait to dive really deep into this deck. This is the 9. It's just beautiful. Let's take a look at the 9, because again we have this reoccurrence of these 3 sisters or feminine presenting creatures. These 3 maidens float beneath waters of a clear lake, so they're not supposed to be anything specific, but there's this echoing theme throughout of 3 sisters, you know, potentially referring each time to the Weavers of Fate in the Greek pantheon. And the 10 of chalices, this is beautiful. The detail in this deck, I'm really gushing, I know. This is the King of Chalices. I love that, so moody. This beautiful Queen of Chalices. Look at that cauldron bubbling away. This could be a soul deck. You know, I always say I don't know if I could have a soul deck, but this could actually be a soul deck. I mean, the fact that the Morrigan is in it is like cinching it for me. This is the Knight. I just love she's on a frog. Isn't there a fairy tale? Knight of Chalices. This is a dark fairy. She just happens to be on a toad. I swear there's a fairy tale where someone travels on a toad. If anyone knows, let me know. And then here is the last card, and this is Princess of Chalices. And here is the Princess of Chalices, and it's like a water drop in her hands. Oh my goodness, and that is the deck, and I am so thrilled with this deck. And I am going to shuffle it up off screen, and then I'll shuffle it a little bit on screen as well, and we can do a little reading. Okay, so let's give this a little shuffle on screen and we will do a little reading. So just tuning in to the energies of the collective, and I'm going to ask that we shuffle and receive a message for the collective now, something that we need to hear, something that's going to serve us, a timeless reading, so that whoever is finding this video and whoever stays for this reading is here for a reason. This reading is for everyone who is tuning into this right now. What do we need to hear right now? What do we need to know right now? What do we need to be aware of right now in the collective? Wow, there's just some really vibrant energy going on here. So we have the Ace of Wands, the Empress reversed, and the Fool reversed. Now I'm going to turn these over so you can see them, but I'm going to read them in a reversed position. So what I feel, of course, is that we've got this like sudden spark of inspiration, and there's definitely some kind of potential here, of course, for growth and adventures and new beginnings, especially echoed here as well, that are really, really exciting. Perhaps getting back into our passions, energizing us. Perhaps we're getting back, perhaps if we are looking for a soulmate, a partner, then it's getting back out there on the dating scene, and it's really feeling like there's an excitement and a spark to really begin that. But I do feel that with these two cards in reverse, and the fact that they are majors as well, there's this massive theme here that's going on that we need to work through. And whatever this is about, whether this is about romance, or it's about career, or it's about health and vitality and personal development, growth, you know, opportunities for development and growth just within our personal life, if it's within our relationships, there is a sort of excitement here that is building. But I do feel like we are perhaps being held back, perhaps by our expectations of how things should be, how we should be going about things, and we've got this sort of like fear, and I almost feel like it's coming from a place of imposter syndrome, and that word has just been coming up so much recently. It's been coming up in my life in general with people I've been talking to as well in real life, and I just feel like there's this almost inertia and this fear and this anxiety about getting back out into the world and getting on with our lives. You know, it's almost like we've been on hiatus, we've been in this dark void or this vacuum, you know, while we've been suspended, if you will, you know, real hangman energy, suspended within COVID and within the restrictions wherever we live. You know, every place obviously has different restrictions, and there's going to be different challenges that come along with that for everybody. So whether, you know, you're a parent, you're a mum, you're a dad, you're a foster parent or an adopted parent, or you're an aunt or an uncle, you're a guardian, you're a grandmother, grandfather, you're looking after small children or older children, you know, you're dealing with all of that, there's a huge amount of pressure, and I feel that that's really built up here. And then we've got this real maternal energy here, and of course it's about nurturing, but it's not just about children. That just might be relevant to you if that is part of your life right now. But if it is about a project, perhaps it's about a new project at work, perhaps it's about a new opportunity to collaborate with another business, to reach out to form new partnerships, perhaps it is about a new role in a new business, perhaps it is about like a shifts in your team, but it's new opportunities and a chance for you to nurture those opportunities, and excitement to do that as well. There is excitement here. It's something that brings you joy, something that you are excited about and that you really want to be able to be pursuing right now, but things have not of late allowed you to, you know, venture forth on your path without having these obstacles in the way. And perhaps it has held you back in terms of not only impeding on your ability to actually maneuver and get things done, like you can't go into an office and get things done, or you can't go out to a bar or to a museum or to a club or to a restaurant, you can't go on dates, you can't meet people, you can't be social, you can't go to the same groups that you might have been going to, you know, if you were doing courses or anything like that. Everything has changed, and so whatever it was that you were trying to nurture, it feels like you were on hiatus, and now there's this big shift in your mindset, and you're actually able to open your mind again to the idea, the notion, the anticipation that you are going to be able to nurture those dreams again. This is all about your dreams, your passions, your desires. So whether that is about a fulfilling sex life with your partner, or finding a new partner, or having that passion in your life, whether it is about an artistic project, whether it is about a passion project at work, or something that you want to learn more about, to explore. If you can hear, my cat Squeaky has just come in, she's on my lap, she's purring. Whatever it is something that you're excited and enthusiastic about, but there is fear here holding you back. There is fear, inertia, there is this inhibition here, this fear that you're not good enough, this feeling that somehow you don't have the right qualifications, or you don't know the right people, or there's something that means that you can't pursue what you wanted to do. Or perhaps you've been disappointed. Perhaps this was something that you were really passionate about and had a go at it, but you didn't see the fruits of your labour as such, and you were put off by that, and you were tempted to kind of give up. Or perhaps this whole thing has actually shifted your mindset and enabled you to look at ways in which you need to be more careful about the decisions you're making. Perhaps with decisions relating to whatever passion project this is about, you made some wrong turns and you didn't see success, and you're learning the error of your ways in terms of like resetting and getting ready to go back out there. I always feel like the reversals, reading reversals is really important, and oftentimes when I have an upright card I will read the reversal of it as well, because I feel that for myself I want to know everything I need to know about whatever this reading is about, and I'll have a better idea when it's me, of course, or if there's a question from a querent. But with a general reading like this, I really have to say that I think there is so many opportunities to turn these cards around and to make them work in our favour. So if we understand what this is referring to, and for those watching, there could be any number of things that this would relate to, and perhaps this is resonating for you, perhaps it isn't, and that's absolutely fine. This message may not be meant for you, but for those it is meant for, this is about having that inner knowing, that inner confidence that you can do this, and that even if you are fearful about it, you've got anxieties about it, you've got this idea in your head that you're not good enough, you've got this sort of imposter syndrome thing going on, whatever it is, even if you have made some mistakes, you're learning from them, you've learned your lesson, even by acknowledging that. That is a big step. And by taking some of these ideas and journaling about them, journaling about the way you feel about them, and how you want to be able to work through them, can really help you in the next steps in order to, you know, get these reverse cards turned upright as we see them. Because there is so much potential here. This is a beautiful energy. This energy is vibrant and exciting and renewing and full of infinite possibilities. You know, this is your dreams. This is a map of your dreams here. This is the initial spark, the gestation period, and then, you know, the journey as you set out, as you set forth. And of course there will be obstacles along the way, but this is so empowering, so beautiful. There's so many opportunities out there, and whatever it is you're pursuing, I really encourage you to just examine where you are right now. And if, you know, you're feeling kind of vulnerable, know that a lot of other people are too, okay? Because what we've collectively been through, it's such a huge upheaval. And, you know, mental health and depression, anxiety, it was already really common in our society before the pandemic. And now, you know, we are facing some real challenges. And I just want to say as well, if you do feel like you're struggling, it is really important to reach out for support, whether that be through a therapist, a counsellor, or through your general practitioner, your GP. I do think it's a really good idea to seek support if you need it. I definitely have done that in the past myself, and there is no shame in it, and it is part of that journey to getting yourself on track and to fulfilling these greatest desires you've got, you know, to birthing these dreams and these ideas into reality. Because we are in this really beautiful place right now where we do have these opportunities and these doors opening up for us, and we might not be able to see it, we might not be able to see what's beyond right here. It's all dark and it sort of seems like an endless kind of forest, but there is light here, and there are journeys to take and stories along the way that we are going to become attached to, that are going to become really important in our life. You know, perhaps this is new people coming into our lives. This is new opportunities, new ways of doing things, new ways to look at your life, new ways to look at the way you treat yourself. How do you speak to yourself? Really, seriously. And, you know, this is a beautiful deck for shadow work, and, you know, I would just say that if this is resonating with you at all, then it could be a really beautiful jumping off point to do some shadow work and some self-reflection and get yourself back on track and feeling confident again, because I'm telling you, you've got this. And as a collective, I just personally feel that being part of this tarot community and having this love for tarot and meeting and speaking to other people who do as well, I do feel part of something really special. And I feel like other people who are in this community too, they get it, you know, and I feel like we have something really special there. And especially there are certain channels, of course, that have the most incredible communities, and within those communities, you know, you are really welcome and you are safe. It's a safe space to share. Even if you don't feel that you can share with anyone in your real life, perhaps, you know, coming into one of these communities and speaking about your experiences, you know, it's a place where you can be held and really understood. And if you're here watching this, then I'm sure that you already know of some of those places where you can get involved in communities. But of course, if you need any more information, then pop me a message below. I just really feel called to say that, because if someone is watching this and doesn't know that, then there is an opportunity there for you, because this is a really supportive community right here, this tarot community, and the wider witchcraft and magic kind of community on YouTube as well. It's a beautiful opportunity to meet people, and like-minded people as well. And if you're here watching this, then that might be something that you need and that could support you as well. But definitely reach for the stars, reach for those dreams. Don't allow things that have knocked you in the past to impede your projection or, you know, delay you even. You don't need to be on form all the time either. That's the other thing. You can have down days, you can have breaks, you can need time, you can have to switch off from social media. These things are all really important, and it's so special when you reach a point where you have the grace to be able to say, you know what, I feel like shit today and I don't think I can do this, and I'm switching off. Really, I think we've all had those days, especially of late, and switching off and having that radical self-compassion for yourself. I've been practicing radical self-compassion this past week, and radical gratitude as well. And you know what? It has been so powerful. So powerful. That is the magic that has come out of this last week for me. This incredible, radical self-compassion and gratitude. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, because there's a lot of depth to it, what I am talking about for myself. But we need to give ourselves the grace to move through these emotions that we're feeling and allow ourselves to feel this sacred anger that is, you know, bubbling up inside us. And that, you know, that is telling of that here as well. You know, there is so much energy that perhaps we haven't been able to put out and express in the ways that we wanted to, but it doesn't mean we can't express them in ways that are beautiful and that are supportive for ourselves and that are effective. You know, we can create art, we can create beautiful things, we can really put our light out into the universe in different ways. And I really feel that there's just this opportunity here for growth, for future infinite possibilities, and we just need to open up the doors and say, yes, I'm ready and I surrender to those, and I'm walking the walk, you know, I'm gonna go for this. And believe in yourself, because you've got this. So that is the intuitive reading that I have for the collective today with the Pythonic Tarot by Jessica Shaw. I absolutely adore this deck. I just think this is such a special deck. This has been so fun. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you have enjoyed it too, that you have found it interesting and informative and inspiring. And if you are interested in the deck, I will link it below. I'd love to hear from you if you're thinking about picking it up, or if you already have it and if you've been working with it and what you think of it. If you did enjoy the video, then please do click the like button and give the video a thumbs up, and share it with anyone who you think would be interested in this deck as well, or this reading even. And also, if you'd like to see more from me along the lines of tarot, witchcraft, magic, spiritual related content, then please do think about subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that little bell notification, because that's how YouTube is going to let you know when I create and upload videos like this. With all of that said, thank you again so much for joining me. I've absolutely loved this. Do take care of yourselves, stay well and safe, and I look forward to seeing you in another video really soon. Take care, bye.